One. This is a story about a smart thrush that outwitted the sly fox. It is a Russian folk story. It may not be suitable for all ages, so viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy. The Animals in the Pit, a Russian folk tale. Once there lived an old woman and an old man. They lived in great poverty, and their only possession was a single hog. One day, the hog was wandering through the woods, looking for acorns. Suddenly, a wolf appeared before it. "Where are you going, hog?" asked the wolf. "I'm looking for acorns," answered the hog. "Take me with you," said the wolf. "I will take you with me, but there is a big pit in the forest. It is large and wide, and you will not be able to jump over it," answered the hog. "Don't worry about it," said the wolf. "I will jump over it just fine." And so they went. They walked deep into the forest until they came to the pit. The hog jumped over the pit and landed safely on the other side. Then the wolf jumped, but he couldn't clear the entire pit and fell straight into it. The hog was not concerned about the wolf. He continued eating acorns and then went home. After some time, the hog headed again to the forest to eat acorns. This time he met a hare on the way. "Where are you going, hog?" asked the hare. "I'm going to the forest to eat acorns," answered the hog. "Take me with you," asked the hare. "No, hare, you can't come with me. There is a pit in the forest, wide and deep, and you won't be able to jump over it," answered the hog. "I am a hare. I can jump over anything," said the hare proudly. And so they went. They walked deep into the forest until they reached the pit. The hog jumped over, but when the hare jumped, he fell into the pit. Once again, the hog paid no attention, ate his acorns, and then went home. A few days later, the hog went into the forest again. This time, he met a fox. The fox also wanted to go with him into the forest, just like the wolf and the hare had. The hog warned the fox about the great pit, but the fox insisted on coming anyway. When they reached the pit, the hog jumped across safely, but the fox fell right into it. The hog ate his acorns and went home. On the following day, the same thing happened with the bear. The bear also fell into the pit. Now there were 4 creatures trapped in the pit, and they all wondered how they would ever escape. "Let's howl as loudly as we can," said the fox. "Whoever gives up first, we shall eat." So they began to howl, but no one came to their rescue. Eventually they grew terribly hungry, so they ate the poor hare, who was the first to stop howling. Time passed, and the 3 remaining animals became hungry again. They decided to repeat the same plan. This time it was the wolf who gave up first. He had been trapped in the pit the longest. He was thirsty, hungry, and exhausted, and he no longer had the strength to keep howling. So the wolf was eaten as well. But the fox was sly. She secretly hid some of the meat for herself, leaving the bear with less to eat. Before long, the bear became hungry again. "My dear," said the bear to the fox, "where do you get the meat you're eating?" "You silly bear," laughed the fox, "just reach into your side and pull one of your own ribs to eat." The bear believed the fox. He pulled out one of his ribs and died. The fox ate him too. But after some time had passed, she became hungry once more. The fox looked around the pit and then looked up. Above it stood a tree where a thrush was building its nest. She watched for a while and finally came up with a plan. "What are you doing, thrush?" asked the fox. "I'm building my nest," answered the thrush. "And why are you building it?" asked the fox. "I want to raise my young in it," replied the thrush. "If you don't feed me, I will eat your young," threatened the fox. The thrush became frightened and wondered how he could feed the fox. He flew to the village and managed to steal a hen for her. The fox ate it with great delight. But after some time had passed, the fox became thirsty. "Hey, thrush, bring me something to drink, or I will eat your young." The thrush wondered how he could bring water to the fox. Eventually, he flew to the village and found a small pot of water that had been left outside. The fox quenched her thirst and then said, "Thrush, you have fed me and given me water. Now pull me out of this pit." The thrush wondered how he could rescue the fox. At last he came up with an idea. He began bringing branches and twigs, dropping them into the pit one by one until there were enough for the fox to climb out. At last the fox escaped. When she climbed out of the pit, she said, "Thrush, you fed me, gave me water, and set me free. Now make me laugh, for I have been miserable in that pit for so long. I need a good laugh." The thrush thought for a while. "Follow me, fox," he said, and flew away. He led the fox to a village and stopped at the house of a wealthy man. The fox waited beneath the gate. The thrush landed on the open window and began shouting, old woman, bring me a piece of fat." At that very moment, a dog leapt out of the yard and tore the fox to pieces. The thrush was finally free of the sly fox. He flew back into the forest and raised his young in peace. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.